I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And I know if you go to God and ask him, he will forgive you.
This is Botham Jean's brother, Brandt Jean, addressing his brother's killer, Amber Geiger, at her trial yesterday before embracing her with a hug that many considered inspirational. Now, last year, former police officer Amber Geiger came back home from work and shot and killed her neighbor Botham Jean in his own apartment in cold blood. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison yesterday. It's a unique moment when justice is actually served in America, only when it's such a flagrant injustice. And I know the conversation on this matter is now focused on whether Amber's sentence was too lenient for killing an innocent black man. For example, what would have happened if a black cop shot a white woman? Well, we do know. Former police officer Mohammed Noor was on duty when he shot and killed Justine Damon.
There is breaking news in the case of the Australian woman shot to death by a police officer in Minneapolis after calling 911.
Breaking news from Minneapolis. Another developing headline we're following. The verdict just in: a former police officer found guilty of third-degree murder and manslaughter in the shooting death of a woman who had actually called 911 for help.
Mohammed Noor was an immigrant from Somalia. Is that a relevant fact? We don't know.
Mohammed Noor got 12.5 years in prison and justice was promptly served. Now, he was on duty when he shot Justine Damon and got a longer sentence than Geiger did, even though Geiger wasn't responding to a 911 call, and the police are notorious for protecting their own in these sorts of extrajudicial killings on the job. But Noor's case was considered open and shut. Now, you can decide why. But the interesting conversation to have here isn't about why Amber Geiger should have received a longer sentence. It's about how others are punished much more severely for minor crimes. It's about how we don't see the same kind of mercy or embrace from the justice system against marginalized people, against black and brown people, or against poor people who end up in this cycle of poverty and crime in a system that does not seek to rehabilitate them, but to incarcerate them for as long as they can. An individual act of mercy from Botham's brother should not be exploited for a larger narrative of racial reconciliation, when this system still has inequalities built into its core and there is still much more work to be done. Even in this investigation itself, there was plenty of instances of corruption. So don't forget that. Brandt's forgiveness is beautiful, but do not forget their mother's rage either. This is what Brandt and Botham's mother had to say about the hug.
I think what Brandt did was to heal himself, but I don't want forgiveness to be mistaken with a total relinquishing of responsibility.
So if you're moved by Brandt Jean's compassion, then remember that same compassion for everyone serving a sentence at the moment. Also, black victims of white violence are often widely praised for the way they forgive their victimizers. But that same treatment does not accrue to white victims of black or brown crime. Curiously, forgiveness never seems to be a concern when the racial roles are reversed. On top of that, much more work still needs to be done in regards to criminal justice reform. For starters, we need to eliminate mandatory minimum sentences and cut back on excessively lengthy sentences, for example, by imposing a 20-year maximum on prison terms. We need to shift resources to community-based prevention and treatment for substance abuse. We need to invest in interventions that promote strong youth development and respond to delinquency in age-appropriate and evidence-based ways. And we need to examine and address the policies and practices, conscious or not, that contribute to the racial inequity at every single stage of our criminal justice system. And we need to remove the barriers that make it harder for individuals with criminal records to turn their lives around. And finally, we need to reduce income inequality, as the best way to prevent crime is to reduce poverty. That's how we can show compassion on a broader scale and seek to correct the injustice that permeates our criminal justice system. I'm Hasan Piker, and this has been The Breakdown.
You like this video? Great. Never miss another breakdown video by hitting the subscribe button below, and also ring the bell to get notified whenever we publish a new one.